Yes, it should.
Good. So, hi. Hello.
Hello.
Hey. Welcome to the last session of last formal session of Drupal Europe 2018. Thank you for coming, and thank you for still coming. So I actually think it would be a good thing. Show, you also want to come and sit down here? Sorry, picking out people from the crowd and tell them to come up. I think we could start by very briefly tell you shortly about who we are. Right? I will start. I'm Batti, one of the organizers of Drupal Europe, and I come from Iceland. I live in Frankfurt. I have 2 kids. 3 minutes over already. It reminds you. I have 2 kids, and I've been doing Drupal since 2007. So you have let's go around. Gabor, you want to start?
Yeah, I'm Gabor Hojci. I'm in Hungary. Also 2 kids doing Drupal since 2003.
Where's this?
Can I need my mic? So I'm Gabor. I've been doing Drupal since 2003. I have 2 kids from Hungary. That's it.
I am João. I've been doing Drupal since 2005, I believe. I discovered about Drupal Europe being in Amsterdam, same as you all did, by the tweet, because I was involved in Lisbon. So my arrival in this team was a bit late, but still I ought to organize some of the fun stuff that we've been doing. So thanks for everyone if you're enjoying it.
We're just introducing ourselves.
How many kids do you have?
Yes.
2 kids.
Hi everyone, I'm Andriy, I'm from Ukraine. Yeah, I'm from Ukraine. I joined Drupal Europe 3 months ago, and it's I joined in a really good way and really good time. And first my feeling was, why nobody responds to my volunteer request? What they are doing? Why don't they respond? They don't want me volunteering. Okay, me there. Then 1 week passed. I saw there was a meeting. Oh, great, they do a meeting. But they probably didn't like me there. I think I wrote to Mikey, hi, I saw that you are doing a meeting, blah, 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 and I responded. I submitted request and nobody responded. And then I got long messages from Mikey. And then I a little bit rethink my feedback, and I found out that I had to do something because there is something unhandled. And in fact, it was easy. First meeting I was participate. I tried to do something, trying to be active, and then I just tried to be more than just attendee and go through the outline and pick up section uncovered. Like it all. Okay, if you feel comfortable, just do that. So that was volunteering coordination.
Let's go through that later, because we have a session, we have a slide about that.
I get the feeling
Andrei.
that you could do a whole session on it.
Next time. You can.
Might be a good idea to do that actually.
Actually, Andrew is not that verbose. Normally, he just gets things done. So
Yes.
he's allowed to talk a little more. I'm Michael from Germany, Berlin. I will tell you for how long I've been doing Drupal, that would reveal my age somehow. And I'm a conceptual designer and decision-making consultant. I would like to give an example of how you can contribute without writing lines of code.
Hey, I'm Lars from Copenhagen, Denmark. Been doing Drupal for ever. It feels like it sometimes, especially when working with Drupal. I think it was 2008 or something like that. Yeah.
Floris from the Netherlands, also since 2008, and I have no kids.
I'm Stefan from Germany. I have
5 kids actually.
Oh, we have a photo. We have a photo. Ah.
The winners, I think I didn't see them much in the last time.
They all came. They all visited.
Here. Oh yeah,
They're all lovely.
I'm doing Drupal since 2005, 13 years now. I'm a shop owner and I'm the lead of the German Drupal Association.
Perfect.
We are missing a few people.
So Surabi, she's probably working hard downstairs. We are also gonna show a little picture of all of us.
She's up under the roof with Flo and
She's coming.
video stuff.
So she's coming, and Billy, if maybe you can just call them. Okay, for
2 minutes ago,
so for those of you who think you're coming here to listen to the future of Drupal Europe and what's next, you know, oh, sorry, you're in the wrong place because we are going to do a little bit of retrospective. But of course, also in the meantime, talk about the future of our community, maybe, and how what we have accomplished as a team. But keep in mind that we have had 15 minutes to prepare. We allowed ourselves to sit down for 15 minutes to do a couple of slides, but we have a very long story that we want to tell after the event. But we have a couple of things that we maybe want to, or that we want to share with you now, and it's going to be probably a surprise to all of you because.
Thanks for doing that.
Maybe one of the most exciting. Yeah, I will go through this. Maybe, and please interrupt me if you think it is good to do that. We have been asked a lot to go a little bit just through this process. So how does this happen? I was in, and Floris and some others of you were in Drupal Camp Belgium in Antwerpen in the beginning of September 2017. I see yeses here. Where the blog post came out that Drupal Association were not going to do a DrupalCon in 2018. And I think that everything changed then because we started immediately to sit down in groups because we thought it was just not okay. There was a lot of anger. We said like, hey, what about us? And what about us here as you know, people who want to all come and meet up? So that was like that was a process that we went through. Rachel, remember? So what happened then is we prepared a little bit and we got also a little bit through the anger phase, and then we met in Vienna again. And in Vienna we even had like a much larger group that attended. And I don't know about you, you probably do a lot of hallway track or you go to sessions, but I think that many of this group here, many of you that are sitting here, we were in BOFs in DrupalCon Vienna, discussing how we can solve this. And this all, Surabi, welcome.
Sorry for being here.
And it all started in a community summit that Floris organized together with Levi, where we started to point out, like, we do 52 Drupal camps in Europe in 1 year. That is 1 camp per week. And then we do 1 large DrupalCon Europe. So what we did is we clustered this data. We went through like how many attendees do we have in each camp, how much does each camp cost. We put out this cluster, and then we had DrupalCon Dublin, I think, data from the year before. Was it Dublin?
Yeah.
And then we saw that there was a big gap. So we saw an opportunity. We were like, and we had one example in front of us, and we were lucky to have one of the organizers of Bad Camp attending the community summit. And he said to us, we are doing Bad Camp in the United States. We have 1,500 people coming, and we are doing it on a very low budget. So I think that this all made it happen, that we said, like, we should be able to do something like that. So I think we all came out of Vienna. There were actually multiple groups in Vienna, and then we managed to bring them all together. And then in the end in Vienna, we said, okay, now we have to start do this. We agreed on doing this, and we posted our first blog post, Hello World, 1 week later, which was then October 9, where we said we are going to do it. And we organized weekly calls, which have been taking place from this day, the end of DrupalCon Vienna, until last Thursday.
Your turn.
What?
Charlie?
Yes.
Was it that long?
And I think that some of us have probably had 99.9% attendance in that, so maybe one meeting missing. We had a lot of people that were with us in the beginning. Some of them are here, like Adam. There were others that joined. Rachel?
I just sent you the picture from Antwerp just now.
Oh, really? Yeah, I told you I will show it to you later if you have time. And we have very many people also that joined on the way, like Andre was telling us. Where are you here? But most important is that we said that we were going to do a, what was it? We were going to do you have what we said in the Hello World? Sustainable event, very cheap for everybody and all that. But we realized really quickly that people actually just wanted to come to a similar event like DrupalCon, and the expectations were actually similar. So we said, like, okay, we have to think maybe also a little bit more in that direction. So we did a call for venues on the 20th of October. We got 13 submissions from 7 countries, and one was from Australia. So they said we can participate in Eurovision, so why can we not participate in Drupal Europe? There were 2 submissions that came from Germany. There was from Edinburgh, there was from Göteborg. There were 2 from Poland, the one from Australia. We had one from Amsterdam, or close to Amsterdam. And probably I'm forgetting 1 or 2. So we worked through one weekend to, remember that, Gabor, to put down, because we said, like, how are we going to make a decision? Like, who makes the decision? We were around 20 people in these calls regularly. How are we going to make this decision? So we created a slideshow. That would be fun to go through, that slideshow. So we did pros and cons. And one of the reasons why Germany and why Darmstadt was picked is because they came and said, we can do it here in Germany, and we even are willing to do it with the Drupal Germany Association as a legal entity, which is of course very important because somebody needs to be legally responsible for all this stuff, right? And there basically Stefan stood up.
You're welcome.
And probably some people thought that he was a little bit crazy. But we said, like, oh, he's a business owner, so he must know what he's doing.
I didn't.
We thought it was you that wrote that.
No, I had nothing to do with it. It was Darmstadt or Mannheim. Mannheim was also an option, but Darmstadt was then. So basically we just said, like, okay, this is a good choice. It was also not so simple to get a venue this couple of months before. So on the 12th of January, so Stefan and I, we went here to Darmstadt and we met here and we walked around and we actually I think we fell in love with this venue immediately. Probably all of you have also the same feelings. This is just great. And at the moment, this was on the 20th of December, I think. I think the 20th or the 21st of December last year. And then we just said, like, hey, this is definitely the place. So we started to organize that around. We finished the contracts with the venue, closed the deal, that we of course worked really hard to get the best price that we could get. And then on the 12th of January we announced Drupal Europe. If we can talk about mistakes that we did, because we are doing a retrospective, right? We didn't realize that on the 12th of January when this was released, that this was actually conflicting with some major holidays. One of them being today, right? Yeah? So, and you want to?
Should Surabi introduce herself?
Yes, that was actually good. Surabi, tell us
I would just told people who you are, how long we do Drupal, and how many children we have, and perhaps the fact with the festival today.
You should also get up and say.
Just say it.
Yes.
So I am connected with Drupal since 2.7 years.
Say your name first.
Oh. So my name is Surabhi Gopte and I'm from India. I work in Goa for Stratum Technologies as a quality analyst. And I have been connected with Drupal since 2.7 years now. And I don't have children. I'm not married. And today being a festival in India, which is called Ganesh Chaturthi, which basically signifies the new beginnings. So we worship the god called Ganesh, which symbolizes new beginnings. And it is also a new beginning for me because this is the first time I'm attending such a big event. And being a part of the organizing team is just amazing. So it is a new beginning for me, and I'm looking forward to more such events.
She also was probably like Andri. They worked really hard. Like they sent so many emails like, "What can we do to help? You know, can we help? Please, can we help?" But they like.
They really chased you.
You literally chased, yeah, exactly. Good, very good job. Yes, so there was no turning back from the moment that this was all decided. So we found out there were more conflicts. There was the biggest conference almost in Europe happening at the same time in Frankfurt. 150,000 attendees coming to Frankfurt, and they have booked like hotels in years in advance. So there were all these things that came up on the way, and that's the Auto Mechanica. That's like for the people who are not the car exhibition, but the car part and everything related. So that is happening now at the same time in Frankfurt, and actually driving into Frankfurt and being in Frankfurt at the moment, that is just crazy. So.
And we have 2 major IT events.
Yeah, and then also, and you have to handle this. So we have the MESCO, which is 60,000 people taking place in Cologne, which is one of the largest digital conferences in Germany. And we have the Web Congress in Erlangen, where a lot of the web people in Germany are actually going to. And there are some of them that have been coming here and then going to the MESCO or to the other event. So we thought like afterwards, now we understand why we got this venue on this date. Okay, fast forward. There came all these things like, okay, now we have to start selling tickets and getting sponsors. So we started to sell sponsorship and ticket sale at Drupal Camp London. It was around the 1st of March. And that was the early supporter tickets because we had to do the first payment. And the Germany Drupal Association is not like having a lot of money on their bank account that we could just take out. So we had to get money to make that happen. So I think some of you are in the room. I see some of you in here. You can wave if you were one of the early supporters. Thank you. Thank you. So, thank you. So you, of course, made a big contribution by helping us to do the first financial round.
Absolutely, because we had to secure the venue, we had to pay a third of the total cost, and the total cost is about 180,000 euros.
Of the venue.
Of the venue.
Without catering.
Without catering, lots of additional costs.
And we go through that later. Yeah. So we go briefly through that later. But yeah, exactly. So I would actually say, and probably most of you can agree, that is where this little bit strange feeling that you have in your stomach starts. Because you make a financial agreement about this to book the venue, and then you have to start selling the tickets, and then of course you don't know if that works out, right?
It's really interesting signing such a contract and you don't know if you get the money.
Yeah. But we believed in you guys, all of you. So the ticket sale was then starting. We used an open source system called Pretix that we set up, and the good thing that comes out of this is that now the Drupal Germany Association has this ticket set up for the next Drupal camps. And I think I heard a number yesterday that we saved the euros. How many euros did we save by using this ticket system?
Yeah, alternatives to using an open source self-hosted ticket sales system would have been using, for example, Steam events or Live events or Eventbrite, whatever they call themselves. We have saved around 30,000 euro just
on
fees, just by setting up an open source ticket sales system.
So that is some of the stuff that we need to write down, right? But luckily this is recorded, so maybe we can type this all down afterwards. We still
any bugs in the system?
In the prefix?
Yeah.
Well, we didn't actually fix any bugs. It's Python. I have no idea how
So the only fees that we had to pay was for the processing of the bank of the money payments.
Yes, we used
Stripe
as a payment gateway. They're actually the cheapest on the market, and I actually would say they are one of the best, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, we've had really good experience with Pretix. We have a lot of flexibility in setting up ticket types and discounts and accepting stuff and checking people in. And we've had questions about user privacy data in the check-in apps, that we could talk to the lead developer of the tools. So that's kind of cool in open source. Yeah, it's kind of cool in open source. You can do that.
And he's located in Heidelberg.
No.
So I can
Try to come.
Knock on the door and like.
So this is actually what Mike said. Like, I just pinged the lead developer of the system. Okay, so we had a ticketing system. Then we had to have a website done, right? So we could do an opening of session submissions. And there, Lars and Floris and Gabor and Billy, who is not here, he's hopefully on the way or hiding somewhere. We started the work of setting up a website. And that was not easy. Like, we got a lot of help from 611 with the branding and the design. So 611 was a big contributor to this project from that perspective. And then, of course, Maika with her design capabilities, and
Among others.
all the programmers and backenders. What?
And Floris as well. With this.
All of you. So we set up a website that we all see today. And in the end of May, we opened up basically a month later than we wanted to, the session submissions. And then until the 8th of July. Do you want to say something to the website, please?
Yes, just a quick note. We actually started with a plain HTML kind of
True.
website in Symfony, because that is so much faster to set up when you just have to have one page. And then was it by the 1st of May that we actually set up the Drupal website, or was that later?
It was later. We did the,
Yeah, 1st of June. Okay.
Because I remember that.
Right. Oh yeah, for session submission.
yeah.
No, by session submission was late May, so we set it up before that.
Yeah.
Anyway, the launch will tell.
So session submissions were until the 8th of July. And then during that time, we were also starting to build up a track chair team. So put up your hand who was on that team. Thank you. Track chair. Yeah. So you were responsible for this great program that we had here at the conference. So this is a little bit of timeline, and we decided also to do something different because we thought that was cool too. So we thought about the traditional way with focusing on back end, front end, decoupled, being human, business, and we said like we are failing in talking about directly to some industries, but we still wanted to have the expertise topics there. So these were the industries that we decided on, and I know that we have one person here from the government, for example, that was hopefully interested also in a government track. So we decided to go away from these typical summits that are in the beginning, and rather say, let's have a government track so we can attract people from the government to come and then visit the sessions that are in that track, but with the flexibility of being able to go to all other tracks as well.
Yeah, so one of the problems with DrupalCon was losing money is the customers were not coming in, so the companies were not sponsoring DrupalCon. And we thought that getting in the customers from government, higher education, publishing, social, etc., would help a lot in showing them what Drupal is capable to do, teaching them the open source way. Like you've seen, like we've had all the keynotes and everything, like squarely focused on open source. And for the developers and for project managers and designers and everybody else to experience how their stuff is being used by all of these customers and get inspired by all the crazy stuff that's being done in government and publishing, etc. So that's why we thought that it's gonna be a great melting pot experience to get them together instead of just focusing on our regular audience of the tracks that Ben mentioned.
Yeah. So we had 444 session submissions, and that what happened is that, what was it, 1/3 that went into here, into the Drupal technology. So the track chairs there were like, woo! Yeah. What's it? Ricardo, were you one of them in that?
No, but I saw it.
Oh yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Actually, there was some sessions there that later on not there.
They moved over.
They come to us.
Exactly.
To DevOps.
So we decided, and this is we all met in Dev Days, or most of us, very many of us met in Dev Days, and there we decided. So then we had to do a calculation: how many rooms do we have? And we have like in Nashville, Gabor, Flores, and I, we drew up all the rooms here. We tried to figure out like, how are we going to map this all together? What are we going to give to each track? And then we, based on the submissions, we gave them 10, 12, 15, 30, 50 sessions per track. And this ended up by being 162 sessions, I think. I also have to say that what we did, what I think it is somewhat different, is that we called a lot of people. And both the track chairs, yes I know, I'm also going to be done. So both the track chairs and everybody else, they called and called and called. And I don't know if you've noticed it, but we have a lot of people that are not necessarily Drupal people here, that are coming from other open source technologies. And that is due to the fact that the people in the track chairs and in this group here, we basically called everybody we knew to get them to come here. So this is the session submission part, right, Gabor?
Yeah, so what we found is people are deadline driven, crazy deadline. So we've had 2 deadlines for session submissions, and basically we've had a deadline and we got a lot of sessions. Maybe you can notice where the deadlines were.
We had 2 deadlines.
Ticket sales, people are extremely deadline driven, so we can like keep the same price all the time, or we can add whatever deadlines we wanted, because whenever we've had some deadline that helped ticket sales regardless of the ticket price. At that point, it didn't actually matter for how much more the tickets we sold.
So, this is the fact. Yoo-hoo! We are around 1,000 people. Which is round about, like, that was our limit. That was
our break-even limit, yes.
That was our break-even limit. We were going to get to that later. So we had a lot of ticket variations. We should have had much more because of the deadline thing. We were too long with the same price. So we had the early supporter tickets. Then we worked together with diversitytickets.org. We gave them 25 diversity tickets and asked them for free, and asked them to give that out to those who want to apply. And they took care of the process of that. So diversitytickets.org, and they got a little donation instead. So we also encourage everybody who's doing a camp to use that platform. They are very friendly, very cooperative, and they completely took care of this process for us. We also had an idea in Dev Days. Many of the contributors came and said, is there any way for us to come and participate only in the contribution area? So we decided to, sometimes it is like this, that if you're in the contribution area, you come in for free, you like the food issue, they're getting different food, which I've never liked. Some kind of a different food for those who like sandwiches for those who are in the contribution area, but really fancy food for everybody else. This was a no-go for us. So we decided to make a contribution tickets that cost 100 euros. That was approximately the price of what the food costs per person here at the venue. And we sold a couple of those. And also this was available for those in the CMS Gardens, the open web lounge that we hope that you all visited, where there were all the other open source technologies as well, and many of them. We had speaker tickets, 1 ticket per session that were given for free. We also had a possibility for those who wanted to get a refund that they had bought before and they got a free ticket, so there's a web form for that on the website if that is asked for. We also had a lot of truck tier tickets for those who were doing some volunteering work. Early bird, normal, late, and then of course the day tickets, and we actually sold a lot of the day tickets now in the end. We even sold a couple of tickets a day, right? So the financials, this is that slide everybody is looking for. We are going to go and talk about that in more details, but where we just can say a brief, I think we had a budget of €500,000. And I think seriously 1 week ago, it went from being red result number to a black one, meaning that we hit the 0 1 week ago. There's still, of course, a lot of. So, what is the cost? There's the venue. There's just a lot of cost involved. The catering is, of course, as you have seen, like great catering, Micah, that you organized here in the venue. Yes. And maybe a little bit about that. We were of our group here. We had like somebody who has problems with gluten, somebody who has problems with milk. We had vegetarians, and probably all kinds of other, just in our very small group. So we decided to make that simple, to make a vegetarian food and vegan here. We also decided not to be loud about it before. And I have to admit, yesterday evening, I heard people talking about that they didn't even try the food. Because they rather just went out to get the meat. I don't know about you, but I thought the food was great. You not heard this? I heard one comment about this. 1 out of 1,000. This is great food. So and there was also coffee floating here.
Yeah. The diversity helps.
Yeah.
Making the right decisions.
Yes. A diverse group of volunteers. So what we're going to do after this conference, we are going to do probably a lot of blog posts, maybe not so many, after our sleep. And then we are going to, see, my kids they have to do piano lessons in 10 minutes. Christoph.
Run, Christoph, run.
Obviously my husband. That's nice. This is so real, right? Okay, we told you, we introduced us before, but Micah said it actually pretty correct, that we had a very diverse group of organizers that also made, in my opinion, in our opinion, I think, a lot of very good decisions. Flores, from what we did in every single weekly meeting that everybody could attend, we started the weekly meeting of talking about where people are coming from. And we had so many people from India, from Africa. I think we never had anybody from China or Japan attending. Panama, Nicaragua, the USA.
South Africa.
Yeah. So we often took screenshots and added the flags. But this was a real...
introduction, we had that.
Yeah. So we don't have anything more.
Oh, okay.
So
financials, what's just the headline?
The financials was this headlines. Because we... No, but seriously, we had 15 minutes of organizing this. But there is actually a couple of things that we want to show on the website.
Yeah.
Thank you for your volunteering part in the conference. So we want to show you not only here the great info screens at the venue, so all go to /info screens and look at the info screens here. I want to recommend to all of you to go to the team page and look at the amazing people who were helping us to make this happen.
Yeah. And what we need to do is that we need to add many more, because there were so many people who were actually helping us here on site. And there is actually, I think there's very good food, how do you say it, thought for food or food for thought? Food for thought, yeah.
That I want to share with this group, and that is the definition of volunteering. And I think the definition of volunteering is sometimes, and now I have to say it maybe in a strong way, I think it is in our community sometimes a little bit wrong, the definition of volunteering. Because I think that people think that volunteering is just something that you just do in your free time, and if you have time to do it, then you do it, or that is just not how we should have volunteering in our community. We should, for volunteers, so we should mention that behind these volunteers that we are looking at here, there are families and friends. There are companies that are sponsoring. And there is, I sometimes say that I have the easy part. I can just volunteer, but I have somebody who is supporting me in that, and I have a company that is supporting me behind, and that is the easy part. So we will talk about that after the conference as well in blog posts, that the Drupal Association in Germany, they have a little bit of professional help to make an event like this happen. So they have people who are helping out professionally in the association. We also have an enormous amount of companies that are supporting us, whether it's our own companies or the companies that we are working for. And I think it is important that we should create a culture where we say, because we said in the beginning, make sure you tell us how much you can contribute to this event. And if you cannot, then come to us and let us know about it. We try to professionalize this a little bit and program manage it a little bit. Project manage it.
Yeah,
try to. Because what we feel, and we have felt a lot, there's been people that have stepped out in the middle of the way. And they couldn't do anything more with us for some reasons. Either any of these that we spoke about, family, companies, and whatever that is. There was plenty of people, and most of them came to us in the last couple of weeks, and they felt really bad. And they felt so bad that we had some of them that sent us long emails talking about why they went out and why they didn't do it, and they wanted to be part of this, and some even said, we're not going to come to this event. And this is something serious that we need to fix, right? So we made clear to all of them, and we spoke to all of them, and they are, I think, all of them here today, and have been during the week, that this is nothing that you have to feel bad about if you contribute to an event. If you contribute to... Yeah, this is the last one, so I can talk as much as I want.
There is volunteer group photo.
It's a very important topic, though, and I think that we need to spend very small time to think about it. We don't have to talk about it much more here. But we encourage all of you that if you want to do an event, and if you want to contribute in any way to Drupal, then get the support that you need, so you don't have to feel bad about it if you have to step out for some reason, or if you think that you're failing. Because nobody is failing in our community, and definitely not the people who stand up and they want to help. And I think it is really important that we think about this. I don't know how we are going to communicate this in a good way. I think that we can probably write something good about this. I think it is important that we get our companies to support us, and I encourage all of you, if you want to do next Fronted United or next Dev Days or whatever event you're doing, go to your employer, talk to them and say, I want to spend this much time on doing this, because otherwise you're going to be doing a bad job at work, and then in the evening you're going to be volunteering, and then you're also probably going to do not as good job there as you wanted to. So that's just going to be a lose-lose situation. So let's try to make that a win-win situation, so we start feeling good about it, because that is what we need to do, so we don't end up in a burnout.
I'm glad you said that.
So we need to stop. So we have talked about a lot about the volunteers, but we also want to and need to celebrate the companies that both financially did it, helped us, diamond sponsors that came in early on in the process and said we are supporting this. We have the gold sponsors. We have all the silver sponsors. Look at all these companies that are supporting financially the event. And of course for the trivia night that is happening tonight. Yeah. Thank you, Thunder. And I think that we even added here the organizing partners, that there are companies that are partly here behind our group. We also have the partners. So we need to celebrate the volunteers. We need to celebrate the sponsors. We need to celebrate the attendees. And we are going to do that tonight at 8 o'clock.
No,
6 o'clock? No, 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock.
No, 6 o'clock we are going to be working. So 8 o'clock in Spectrum A, we are going to do the trivia night, which is going to be sponsored by Thunder. And 8 o'clock it starts, so I hope to see you all there. And if you have questions, ask. And let's go and have fun. And tomorrow there is contribution, and we want to see all of you there. One question.
What was with Drupal Europe in future? Are there any plans yet, or what's this?
Yes, that was announced in so Drupal Europe in the future. Yeah, so that I told you in the beginning we are not going to talk about that. We are going to do a retrospective. Now we are going to think, and we are going to sit down, and we are going to think about the future, and that's the message that we are going to give you here. Yeah, so we have DrupalCon in Amsterdam.
Yeah, so the same event is not going to happen because there's DrupalCon in Amsterdam next year. So for this same thing, it's not going to happen. Floris has Drupal Europe Stichting in the Netherlands, which can continue the spirit and can do other kinds of events, or maybe in the future take on a DrupalCon license.
Yeah. Any more questions so quickly? Then we have to go and we have to do a volunteering photo with volunteers.
I could say we did have a off today on planning Drupal Dev Days 2019. Yeah. If anybody wants to organize an event of this size, we've decided that the deadline, which expired 4 days ago, is not really that valid.
2 weeks more.
It's still okay for cities to try and organize Drupal Dev Days if you want to do something about this size.
Actually, I need a break.
So, can I make one last favor? Christoph, you probably have a telephone. Can you go there? Can you get the people who are here? Can you come and can we take one picture? It's the only thing that I want here. Yeah, we have to go a little bit behind. Then we have to really quickly go down. Is it okay?
Step forward so you don't have the projection in your face.
Where are you, Christoph?
Not think about it.